Good morning, everyone. A beautiful blue sky day. It's calm, it's nice, and I've got two brand new cylinders that I need to burn in. So I think we're going to fly to 2.5 hours north to a town called Earlton. Haven't been to Earlton in probably 20 years. So let's go up there, see what they've got for lunch, and we'll talk about the process of breaking in new cylinders.
Oshawa Tower, Foxtrot, Mike Victor Uniform, holding short 1-2 on Bravo for departure.
Oshawa Mike Victor Uniform Tower, left turnout 11505, clear takeoff, runway 12.
Left turnout cleared 1-2, Mike Victor Uniform.
Oshawa Tower, Foxtrot, Quebec, reporting Columbus.
Oshawa Foxtrot, Quebec Tower, thanks, number 1.
Number 1, Foxtrot, Quebec.
Ground, Alpha, let's get on there, requesting taxi instructions back to the active runway.
Whiskey Delta Ground, thanks, taxi Bravo, contact Tower 1201, holding short, runway 12.
For Bravo, hold short 12. Alpha, let's get up there.
And I think I missed a call from a fuel truck.
Enterprise 204, Enterprise requesting Tango 2.
Enterprise 204, Ground, roger, standby.
Oshawa Tower, this is Cessna 172 for Oscar Yankee Julia with information motion.
Alpha Tank Juliet, Oshawa Tower.
Oshawa Tower, Yankee Juliet.
Oshawa Foxtrot, Quebec Tower, continue number 1, departing 1.
Continue number 1, first question.
Mike Victor Uniform Tower, maintain east of Simcoe Street.
Maintain east of Simcoe Street, Mike Victor Uniform.
Mike Victor Uniform Tower, change on our frequencies for flight.
En route, Mike Victor Uniform, thank you.
Whiskey Lima Uniform Tower, number 1.
Number 1 is clear from.
Bravo Lima Quebec Tower, number 2, follow Cessna 3 miles north of the field, slant left base.
Number 2, Bravo Lima Quebec, look for traffic.
Traffic in the Scugog area, this is Cessna 172 Foxtrot, Mike Victor Uniform, currently over the south end of Scugog Island at 5,700, climbing to 7,500, traveling northbound. Scugog area traffic. So this is it. We are at altitude. We're all trimmed out. We're ready to go. Now for the next 2 hours, as I fly to Earlton, I just need to vary my power. Back and forth between 65 to 75% is sort of what people throw around. I'm not going to go too deep into it. The internet is filled with bogus information. A lot of stuff. Oh, I heard this or I heard that, and stuff that isn't reliable, and old wives' tales. A lot of old wives' tales. And so I went to the engine manufacturer and I went to the people that made a cylinder, and I looked at their information of what they want you to do to break in the cylinder, and I'm going to follow that. Seems like the best way to do it. If you don't know what breaking in a cylinder means, when a cylinder is brand new, they hone the inside of the cylinder. I'm not a technician. This is just general overview. I'm going to miss some stuff because I'm also flying a plane. They hone the inside to make all of these little microscopic scratches in the surface, and those microscopic scratches in the surface allow oil to move as the piston moves up and down, or actually in this case back and forth. It gives a space for oil to lubricate, because if it was completely smooth, the oil would not lubricate it. It just wouldn't happen. And so when you first run up a brand new cylinder, because of this scratching motion, microscopic scratching, it makes tiny little pointy bits, and you want to sort of break them off. And you want to run it hard enough that I'm going to bring in cast iron frying pans, because that's another one filled with mythologies. When you first get a cast iron frying pan, you go through a process of seasoning it where you put oil on and then you heat it and cool it. What you're doing is you're changing the very chemical properties of the oil, and so that it's no longer oil. And there's a whole process, there's a whole chemistry lesson in there that I'm not going to go into. But you're seasoning that pan. You don't want that to happen inside your cylinder, because if the oil glazes the inside of the cylinder, you've ruined the cylinder. That's what this whole process is about, sort of knocking off the high points, knocking off the scratchy bits, and making sure that you don't glaze the inside of the cylinder. I will put links below that if you want to read up on it, you can read up on it. And I'm sure that there's a Reddit thread or a hangar that you can go and hang out at the airport where people are going to give you all kinds of garbage information. I don't want to add to that, so I'm not going to say too much about it. So I'm talking in very general terms. Okay, so I'm about a half hour north of Oshawa, and as I look out the window, the terrain has completely changed. I mean, I've flown over this all the time. I know this is going to happen, but for people that don't live in Canada, or who live in Toronto and have never gone north of Eglinton, you know who I'm talking about. You know who you are. As soon as you kind of get north of Lake Simcoe, everything changes, and it's just water and trees and rock. Water, trees, and rock. And I'm very cognizant as I'm flying here of what's around me for an emergency situation, because I am essentially still test flying this aircraft. If something were to happen, it's going to happen in like the first 8 or 10 hours is what I've read. Anyway, which makes me, all the more glad that I've got a pretty good survival pack in the back. But I'm going to see a lot more of this on the Hope Air trip that's coming up. So I'm going to throw in a little bit of a fly-in that we did this past weekend, my timeline, for Hope Air fundraiser kickoff, just to give you more information about that. But I'm going to do an upcoming video where I sort of repack my survival bag for this summer adventure. And I repack my bag 2 or 3 times a year, both to make sure that everything is still there, that everything's there, that it still works, but also the difference between summer and winter. I don't need as much stuff in the summer, or I need a different group of stuff in the summer than I do in the winter. The snow shovel can probably lead for the summer. So I'm going to do a video where I talk about that. It'd be great if you guys dropped in the comment section what you have in your survival bag. Everybody's got an opinion of what they need, and it all comes down to how much weight you can carry, I think. For me anyway, I know a lot of people that are flying smaller aircraft with smaller weight limits, much tighter weight tolerances. They just can't carry a survival bag that has as much stuff in it. I've got a little more leeway, and especially on this trip, since I'm going to be flying by myself most of the time, I can carry a little more weight. So let me know down in the comments what's in your survival bag, and what you think I should have in my survival bag, and then in an upcoming video, we'll repack my bag. There's a great channel from the East Coast, out in Gander, RCAF Sartec, and he goes through survival bags and what's in their survival equipment, and they do their rescues and how they rescue people. It's a great channel. I'll drop a link to that below as well. It's worth a watch to see these guys in action. Okay, everyone. Trick question that I remember from when I got my PPL. My current track over the ground is 4 degrees magnetic. VFR altitude, what should it be? VFR altitude, what could it be? Comment below. All the flight instructors, let me know down below. Comment. Just about clear of these big white fluffy clouds. The clouds are probably at 8,500 feet. So they're just above us. And they look so wonderful, but you get under them and you just get bounced around all over the place, and we're just about clear.
North Bay Radio, this is Foxtrot Mike Victor Uniform.
Foxtrot Mike Victor Uniform, North Bay Radio.
North Bay Radio, Foxtrot Mike Victor Uniform, Cessna 172, currently 20 miles southeast of the field at 7,500. I intend to maintain this altitude and cross over Tybem on my way to Earlton.
Mike Victor Uniform, Roger. Altimeter, North Bay altimeter is 3034.
3034, thank you. Earlton traffic, Foxtrot Mike Victor Uniform, Cessna 172, north of the field, intending to cross midfield to join the mid-right downwind runway 08, Earlton. Earlton traffic, Foxtrot Mike Victor Uniform, right downwind runway 08, Earlton. Earlton traffic, Foxtrot, Mike Victor Uniform, base to final, runway 08, Earlton. Earlton traffic, Foxtrot, Mike Victor Uniform, holding short of 08, Earlton. Earlton traffic, Foxtrot, Mike Victor Uniform, entering 08 for departure, Earlton. Earlton traffic, Foxtrot, Mike Victor Uniform, rolling on 08, Earlton.
Everything's alive. Everything's green.
Earlton traffic, Foxtrot, Mike Victor Uniform, airborne off of 08. I'll be making a right-hand turnout to the south, Earlton.
Ah, 267 dans le secteur de Rouen, Noranda, on est exactement 27 000 dans le sud en rapprochement. Pour Rouen qu'on estime dans 16 minutes. On est à 1500 pieds en conflit. Yankee, Whiskey Bravo, hélicoptère 50. Merci.
Yes, French on the radio. Quebec is right there, like right there. The line is really close. And the town that I was just in, Earlton, everything was English and French. I forgot to film anything on the ramp. My head is so in this game of breaking in these two cylinders and making sure that...
Area 1267, 3651 Hawker, 24 north, just descending through 7000, planning a straight in Q1 in 8 minutes.
My brain is completely in doing what we're about right now, which is breaking in these two cylinders. And so on the ground, all I could think of was my pre-flight checks and get everything, and then I started up the plane and started taxiing out and remembered, oh, I didn't film anything on the ground. Anyway, so in Earlton, nice little airport. Gas was 25 cents a liter cheaper than in Oshawa when I left. The airport manager gave me the airport pickup truck to run into town. And just like every courtesy car at every airport I've ever been to, it is it's a vehicle that's seen public service. Looks like it was used by the works department. Nothing on the dash worked. But it rolled. It got me to where I wanted to go for lunch. I had a great bison burger, and the Bison Ranch is just out beside the airport. If I had more time today, I would have ridden my bike over there to see if I could get some bison, but I didn't. I've got to get back to Oshawa. I've got a million things to do getting ready for this Hope Air trip. So we're on our way back to Oshawa. Same regime. We did burn about 1 liter of oil on the way up. So in a 2.5-hour flight, I burned about 1 liter of oil. I expect to burn a little bit less on the way back. All of the temperatures and pressures are good. We're a little on the high side. It's pretty warm out there. It was almost 30 degrees on the ramp when we left. And even here at 4,500 feet, we're 12 degrees outside air temperature. So it's cooling down as we get higher, which is to be expected, but it's also really bumpy.
Oshawa Tower, Foxtrot, Mike, Victor Uniform.
Foxtrot, Mike, Victor Uniform, Oshawa Tower.
Oshawa Tower, Foxtrot, Mike, Victor Uniform, Cessna 172, currently at 2,700 feet over the town of Uxbridge, inbound for landing, last departed Earlton.
Delta Foxtrot Charlie, ground, hold your position for now, helicopter landing. Runway 12, winds calm, altimeter 3027, cleared left base, report entering the zone.
Tower, please repeat, you reception on.
Mike Victor Uniform, Oshawa Tower, squawk 5374, runway 12, altimeter 3027, cleared left base, report entering the control zone.
Oshawa Tower, Foxtrot, Mike Victor Uniform, entering the zone.
Mike Victor Uniform, Roger, number 2, following Cessna 150, laid down. I'm going to turn base shortly.
Looking for traffic, Mike Victor Uniform.
Mike Victor Uniform, Tower, clear to land, runway 12.
Cleared 1-2, Mike Victor Uniform.
Whiskey, let me go back, Tower, line up and wait, runway 12.
Whiskey, expect line up on the lights, runway 12.
Oscar, Whiskey Tower, continue down to circuit number 1.
We'll continue the descent and warrior number 1. We'll keep it inside Oscar Whiskey.
Mike Victor Uniform Tower, exit left, Charlie. Contact ground 118.41 off.
Left on Charlie, contact ground 1 off, Mike Victor Uniform.
Whiskey India Tower, change of route frequency.
Mike Whiskey India, thank you.
So there we go. A full day of flying to Earlton and back, about 5 hours in the air. And I think it was successful. On the way up, we burned about 1 liter of oil. And on the way back, negligible. Varying the power, varying a whole bunch of different things, following the guidelines of what I was supposed to do. I think I've got them broken in. But we're back to square one because now there's still a drip. There's a drip again. There's oil on the belly, but I know what it is. It's the pushrod tubes. They come out of the bottom on a Continental, and if there's little boots, and if the boots aren't seated exactly correctly, it will leak. So sometime in the next week, I'll head up to Chris's, pull the cowl off, and smash on those boots again, and make sure they're on and seated correctly. But otherwise, success, all ready to go. Thanks for coming along. And I'll see you again soon.